It's week 6, and we welcome you into the Moose Knuckle Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Matt, Chris, Tony, always by my side. Boys, our teams all took the L last week. It was pretty dirty what the fantasy gods did to us. Tony, how's the team going to respond?
Well, yes, I barely squeaked above the worst team in the league this week, and I have a pretty, I hope, easy matchup next week. And I need this W so I don't end up in 14th place. So, better days ahead, hopefully.
It's a little scary here at the bottom. Chris, unfortunately, your team is going to fall again this week. That'll be 2 in a row for you. You just looking past this one and focusing on week 7, a Bill Belichick on to Cincinnati kind of mentality for you?
You know what? I was just getting over last week's loss to Kevin. As Tony pointed out, Kelsey had a great game, but I was going against the quarterback who threw those 4 touchdowns. So, um, yeah, I think my team's better than the record. I think I feel like I have a bye this week going against my opponent, so it's really no big deal. That guy is just he's dog shit at fantasy football. If there's one, like I'm not really impressed with my teams thus far, but it's good to be in a league with you two for confidence booster. So thank you for also sucking this season.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious, but for the listeners who haven't picked up on it yet, we play each other, and I will likely be getting my ass kicked one more time. The suffering will likely continue, but hey, that's how fantasy goes. There's hot starts, and then there's fantasy sharts. But let's focus on beef that swings a lot more violently than mine. Chris, why don't you take us through the quick hits?
Absolutely. So boom, quick hits, baby. Certified beefer of the week. Our guy, 14. Overcooked meats, a whopping 167.07. Zach, you and I were texting last night. You think your team's the shit. I don't blame you after that performance. Lowest scoring team. You'll love to see it. Bell Cow Breeder celebrating his birthday on Saturday. Shits the bed. He had 2 first-round picks. He's not off to a great start. Jonathan Taylor injury lingering for him. 89 points. Awful. MVP for week 4. The guy didn't even play in the fourth quarter, guys. Josh Allen on Evans. Evan, you didn't have a first-round pick. You didn't have a second-round pick. Josh Allen was your guy in the start of the third round. He is paying off. You are nowhere near Sacco, so hats off to you to start the season with those 3, things that we just talked about. We've got the biggest bench performers, guys. These are awful because I made the list as well, but we'll start with Team Skeet. He benched Kirk Cousins for a whopping 24.24 points, the second week in a row that Blue Man chose the wrong QB. As for myself, I just don't know if this guy is good or bad or what. But Jacoby Myers, I never start this guy, and he is, he's a stud. He gets the volume in New England, so he's slotted into my my wide receiver 2 slot this week. He's probably going to get less than 5 points though. And guys, we all benched Taysom Hill. That guy is like the white unicorn of the NFL. He should have been on someone's roster. 14-team league, he should have been in someone's roster. You can play him at quarterback. You can play him at tight end. We screwed up on this. How did none of us have Taysom Hill on our roster? He got 39.38 points, 9 rushes, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think he passed for a touchdown as well, so arm strength, on the legs. He did it all. But, guys, we are a fab league. Let's talk. Speaking of Taysom Hill, we know someone got him. Who got him, guys? This is very small fonts. Oh, that's right. Bell Cow Breeder dropped a whopping $34 for him. I think most of us did have a waiver wire claim. Next closest was can't wait to fab Mr. Vester. Missed him by $1, dude. $1. $1.
$1.
You went unlucky Scottie Pippen on that number. I threw one in there. Dietrich, $6, like just not even in the wheelhouse. I threw up $6 as well, though. So, we have no idea what the hell we're doing. This is just a terrible fantasy season, guys. I think we can all agree on that. But Tony, start us off, man. There's some interesting news going on in the NFL. There's got to be, right?
Oh, absolutely. I am glad, and I'm sure you are too, to have Marshawn Lynch back on our televisions this week. He will be joining the new Thursday cast, Prime Television, and has his own little segment before the game starts where he'll actually be playing some football in Highland Park this week since the game is in Chicago. And then look forward to him next week down in Louisiana feeding some gators. So love to have me some Marshawn Lynch back in my life, boys.
I like it. I certainly think he's probably better behind the camera than he is behind the wheel. So good to see you back on TV, Marshawn.
Yeah, I'm sure Amazon has him as his own personal Uber driver as well. But Dietrich, I'm going to save the Devonta Adams news for you, but because I feel like you're going to be able to talk about this more as a Packer fan. But guys, besides hosting the Moose Knuckle Fantasy Football Podcast, the best job in the world, I think there might be another best job that would rival that, and that is a fired NFL head coach. Matt Rule of the Carolina Panthers was let go this week after a disappointing, few seasons there. Can't figure out a quarterback, whether you've got Darnold or Baker. You have arguably two great playmakers on that team with DJ Moore, who has sucked this year. Tony, a top 7 wide receiver. He's not even a top 70 wide receiver right now. So that's like the worst call that you've had all season, by the way. Christian McCaffrey, Dietrich, I don't even need to tell you, he's on the roster, but I digress. Matt Rule, over the next 40 or so months, is going to collect $40 million from the Carolina Panthers. A little less than $1 million a month he's going to make, guys. Like, hey, imagine your job. They say, hey, guys, we're going to cut you a check for $40 million. You guys appreciate it. There you go. Like, I would never coach again. There's no way.
It's not bad. Guys, does this mean, we've seen the track record now. Should teams ever hire a college coach for the NFL? It hasn't worked out. There hasn't been a lot of success stories to talk about here.
The most recent one is Bill O'Brien that you can think of, right? Like he had a couple playoff stints with Houston, but you're right, D. Like Nick Saban couldn't even conquer the NFL. He's the greatest college football coach of all time. So
yeah, your boy Urban Meyer didn't have a great track run either. Chip Kelly. The list goes on and on. It's just not a lot of success stories here.
Yeah.
A lot of the success you see is coming from systems, right? Where the McVay coming from systems. What's his name? Shanahan and
Shanahan tree.
All the whole Shanahan tree. I do not like the tree coming out of Kansas City. What's his name? Reed. Just
Reed.
because I'm a Bears fan and we had to get rid of that trash recently. So, but hey. I think that's where the most success is, hiring these guys that have been in some positions in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, you're dealing with the men. You're dealing with the best of the best. In college, you're more of a mentor and someone who needs to kind of, not want to say babysit, but be responsible for their team, actions more so than the head coach of an NFL. So definitely a different ball game. But Tony, why don't you dive into the injuries, bud?
All right, top of the list, Baker Mayfield, as we discussed. Definitely dragging down my 6th wide receiver on the year with a foot and ankle injury. Likely to see PJ Walker start this week, guys. Do you like it? Is it an upgrade, a downgrade? Can it even be a downgrade?
I think it's going to be net neutral probably for Christian McCaffrey, but I know one person that doesn't like, and that's Vegas. Vegas doesn't like it as the Panthers are 10.5-point underdogs now. I throw the question to you guys. You think this team trades away a couple pieces this season?
If I'm the Packers, I'm calling them right now to get DJ Moore. He's still young. He's a talented wide receiver. I think that is a match made in heaven. I don't know who wants to take the risk of McCaffrey. I don't know how his contract is, but I can't really think of a team who would want him right now.
The Bills. The Bills have called.
The Bills have called about Christian. That is the rumor, right?
Yes.
That just wouldn't be fair for the NFL. It better not go the NBA route and just start forming super teams. I'll be really pissed off.
I think it's already going that way.
We'll see what this Panthers offense turns into, but like you said, Tony, Baker Mayfield got the high ankle sprain in week 5. He's going to be out a couple weeks. It's likely going to be PJ Walker. Do we see the return of Sam Darnold? That is to be determined. We'll see what PJ Walker brings to the offense. I know he's more of a mobile quarterback, and maybe some more checkdowns to Christian McCaffrey to bump those points up for me. But hopefully he finds DJ Moore and gets him some more targets in this offense. So we'll see what the team turns into here. From one quarterback to the next, we got Teddy Bridgewater in the concussion protocol, no practice Wednesday. Mike McDaniel says he, quote unquote, plans to play undrafted rookie Skylar Thompson. I think that's like a wink. He's hoping Teddy or Tua get ready for Sunday, but Skylar Thompson is the man in case nobody shows up to play, boys.
Hey.
What do you got? Do you guys downgrade those Dolphin players with the idea that we might see Thompson under center again?
Skylar had a higher completion percentage rate last week than Russell Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and I think they're going to roll him out there this week with the new concussion protocol. I think they're iffy and they have to be careful. Their hands are tied, I think, right at the moment.
I think that's exactly it, Tone. I think we're going to see the new normal here. That folks that get into the protocol are probably going to be, sitting out the following week. I think that's going to be the new norm here in the NFL. Another quarterback that hits the list, Dak Prescott. We've mentioned him a couple times now in the injury doc here, but he's quote unquote felt great after throwing to receivers on Wednesday. Probably doesn't start against the Eagles for Sunday Night Football, but he's on track for the Lions in Week 7. Guys, I kind of want to see Dallas beat Philly so we can have the quarterback controversy here begin in Dallas. You think Cooper Rush has a shot to keep this position? Should he get the dub against Philly?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this is Dak's team. No further comments, unless he comes in and he loses a couple weeks. Then the conversation will start. Then I think Dak's going to get the job back right away. If it doesn't go well, then you're going to start hearing chatter in Dallas. But until then, it's going to be Dak's team once he's healthy.
Man, throwing shade to undefeated Cooper Rush, Chris. Come on, this guy is taking this used to be the NFC. What do they call it? The NFC least. I mean, this is a great division right now, and he's playing up to it.
Brian DeBoll, Coach of the Year. That's who the Bears should have drafted. That guy is 4-1, and that is not a talented team at all. Danny Dimes at the quarterback position. That is not a talented team.
Hey, I can't limit Danny Dimes. He started out hot last year too, and then lost all his weapons, and then here we are again losing all his weapons. He's not my fantasy quarterback, but he could be if Carson Wentz shits the bed this week.
Not yet, at least.
Good thing Carson Wentz is a favorable matchup.
All right, guys, let's move on to the running back position. We have Damian Harris here on the injury report. This might be the Patriots playing games a little bit because they put him as limited for Wednesday. It came out, I believe it was Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network said that Harris was likely to miss multiple games. Situation to monitor, I guess, but Stevenson should get the start here and likely run well against Cleveland.
Yeah. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, sure, it was Detroit, but he was second in yardage last week, so man's getting it done.
This is a great opportunity for him. Great opportunity for him.
We got James Conner also popping up on the injury report with a rib. He didn't practice Wednesday. He seems unlikely to suit up. I think this is a start him if you got him situation for Eno Benjamin, boys. Seattle has been giving up 130 rush yards and top 5 most fantasy points to opposing running backs. I think you get him in the lineup and you see what he can do. What do you guys think?
I'm all aboard on this. Eno Benjamin in our regular league of record was already taken, so I went as far as getting Keontae Ingram, the other man there. Eno and Keontae are both 6th round rookies, so it's the battle of the late round running backs this week.
I saw that. That was a nice bench stash on your part there, Tone.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, and our boy Cliff in Arizona already came out and said Benjamin has a chance to be the bell cow. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Moving on, the sad news here to my running back, Rashad Penny. Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll told reporters that Penny has a broken fibula and needs surgery and will miss the rest of the season. So, guys, he's going to become a free agent next year. We're going to see where he lands. He'll likely have to fight for a roster spot in a likely crowded running back room because his body just doesn't let him be the workhorse anymore, unfortunately. But when he is healthy, the man runs hard. Um, this is going to turn into a committee of DJ Dallas, Ken Walker, and newly signed Tony Jones Jr., formerly of the Saints. And Travis Homer is also on that team as well. He is on the IR for a couple more weeks. So, um, Chris, I know you have stock in Walker. You're hoping that he kind of leads the group here, but it's still a pretty crowded running back room in Seattle.
Well, I need him too. Yeah, I need him as my RB2. Hines, with the altitude in Denver last week, I don't want to call that a concussion, but
Yeah,
I
the
think
altitude.
I think it was the altitude that made him stumble. Very lightheaded out there. So I hope he suits up this week. And Jonathan Taylor is probably going to have that foot injury linger for a little bit. Damian Harris is out, but a lot of people in the fantasy world are excited for Ken Walker the third. They were talking, on Reddit on just pissing away all their fab to get him. So he scored a touchdown last week. So if he's he needs to be a top 15 running back for me for the rest of the year. So I have high expectations.
Yeah,
High
he's an electric
expectations
player.
indeed.
Yeah, and he's getting the chance there. I agree. We've a 14-man league here, so he definitely was not on our waiver wire. Congrats to you, Chris. But he would have been the top waiver wire pickup, I think, had he been.
All right,
Definitely.
guys, let's switch over to the wide receiver position. We have Tyreek Hill. He was and likely is limited through the entire week for practice with the foot injury. He might play against Minnesota, but I think some of it may depend on the quarterback position here too. So if it's Skylar Thompson under center, you think they consider maybe shelving Tyreek for a week? What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a unique perspective. I mean, what happened to him? They said he got his foot stepped on. I mean, how
Yeah,
like what?
he was wearing a walking boot after the game.
Yeah, it's a very mysterious injury we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have a very important game. It's the Vikings, so it's not non-conference game, and they're at home. So yeah, rest your key players.
Speaking of key players, we have T. Higgins. He didn't practice Wednesday with the ankle injury. Guys, I think this is trending to he's going to be out. I don't think he's going to make it for Sunday. So, here's to me hoping the Jamar Chase bump up in the rankings for wide receiver this week.
He
Yeah,
didn't play
and
last week, right?
he suited up, but he
Yeah.
was he was on the bench most of the game. And Dietrich, yeah, Jamar Chase has not had that Jamar Chase style game yet this season. The 3 touchdowns, 150 plus yards, 10 receptions. So I fully expect that to happen this week.
I like that. I understand your reverse jinx mentality that you have here, Chris. So yeah, you're gonna hype him up as much as you can. I understand. Moving on, we're gonna Chris Olave, wide receiver of the Saints. No practice for Olave. He's going through the concussion protocol, like many others we've covered. His status for Week 6 is up in the air. The Saints didn't have Jarvis Landry or Michael Thomas at practice either. If all three are ruled out, things will look incredibly bleak for the Saints.
For all Saints except for Taysom Hill.
Take some time. Yeah, once again.
Yeah, and you love Chris Olave. He's out of the wide receivers who were selected in this year's draft as a rookie. He's probably the most electrifying thus far. So hope he's able to get back on the field soon.
Only tight end I had on the list here is Pat Fryermuth. The Muth, no practice Wednesday, also concussion protocol. And yeah, Tone, you mentioned it already. In light of like the Tua situation, I almost assume nobody plays the following week when they're in the protocol. So maybe that changes, but it's not a great sign for the Muth for Week 6. So get your backup plans set up accordingly.
You got hit hard here this week, Deke. Huh?
I know. They're not making it easy on me, these fantasy gods. But thankfully, I have a layup this week. My opponent is not ready for what I'm about to bring to the table here.
Dietrich, let's place a little bet, man. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. But think about Tony, start off with the locks of the weeks. But think about what you want to bet this week in our matchup.
Not much. Not much. I'll say that.
This one here's a guarantee, boys. Los Angeles Chargers cover versus Denver. They're given 5 points, But I'll take the under here at 45.5. I think Chargers could come out and slang, but Denver just is not. So, Chargers could get up and start running. We saw the return of Eckler last week, so they certainly want to give him the ball. Josh Kelly even got picked up in our league this week. So, could be running a lot more in LA.
Yeah, I like it. And yeah, it's a good indicator that if Josh Kelly gets picked up in your league, you have a skank league that just picks up everything and anything that has a pulse that's on waivers. Um, my lock of the week is going to be the 49ers over the Falcons. This is the Kyle Shanahan revenge game. 49ers look good offensively. A lot of cover for the Falcons defense. So this secondary specifically struggles against the tight end position. So I think this is lining up to be the Kittle breakout week. So give me the 49ers to cover the spread at 5.5.
I do. I like both yours. Mine's pretty straightforward. We talked about the injuries affecting them in Miami. At the quarterback position, Skylar Thompson is going to get his first career start. Tyreek Hill may not play. And, the Vikings are a solid team. The Vikings, didn't finish strong last week with the Bears, but, they're giving 3.5 on the road in Miami. I would give those 3.5 points Vikings to cover.
That's a good one. That's a spicy one, Chris. Why don't you?
How did we do on our locks last week? 0-3?
I think Tony got it, but I think he was the only one that ended up being victorious out of us three.
And then, so we went 1-2 on the locks last week, and then 1-2 on the bold predictions.
And 1-2 on the bold predictions. Yeah, I think it was Tony covering both times. So Chris,
no, I got
face this one. Oh, you got you got Arizona, right?
Arizona covered, yeah. Which I pulled that out of my ass. I don't know how the hell that happened, but Dietrich, why don't you start with the bold predictions? Who do you got?
Bold predictions. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Browns. I'm kind of surprised by this line, honestly. They opened up at Pats +3. It's been betted down to 2.5, but good old Billy Belichick ripped apart the Lions 29-0 last week. Browns are getting wrecked in the run game, and that's what New England has been doing well. So 55% run rate for them. Nice game ahead for Ramondre Stevenson. I'll take the Pats to cover and even go as far as taking Pats money line to get the +120 out of it. Try it out.
Interesting play. Quarterback question still in New Orleans. However, they have the man Taysom Hill. Bengals on the road in New Orleans. Our boy Matt Orzlick was just in New Orleans. He confirmed that place is a dump. He got food poisoning there. Bad night for Orzlick. All right, he was on a work trip. So because of that, you don't mess with my boy Orzlick. Only I mess with my boy Orzlick. Bengals are going to New Orleans and mess with the Saints. Bengals are giving 1.5 on the road. I will give that all day. Bengals turn it around this week.
Tone, are you alive?
I'm here. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Unfortunately.
Every other second. So if it's my go, I'll go right now. My bold prediction is New York Jets, who are getting 7.5 points to at least cover the spread, I think, against Green Bay. I think I took the Jets last week. They're on a hot streak. They're performing much better under Zach Wilson. So I think they keep it close in Green Bay. Can't say that they're going to cross the finish line, but I think they keep it closer than 7.5.
Sadly, I think you're right. The Packers, between what I've seen against Zappy in New England and then losing to the Giants in London Town, they stink. And I think the Jets can keep it within 7.5, sadly.
Guys, is it fair to say that both New York teams are good? Like the Jets are, they got dogs on that team, right? Brees Hall had his coming out game last week, damn near 200-yard scrimmage. Garrett Wilson's a stud at wide receiver. Sauce Gardner on defense, their other first-round pick this year, is an animal. I think he had his first pick last week as well. Like the Jets are good, and I think they came a year earlier than expected. So nice to see them clicking finally.
Yeah, you got to see Conklin turning on, and then you also have Michael Carter picking up some Brees Hall scraps and getting 2 touchdowns last week. So it's
Vulture.
The team is clicking. And
Michael Turner
Robert,
style coming in.
a little bit of Michael Turner vibes. Yeah, you're right. Good reference. The Robert Sala offense runs well, and I kind of like what Zach Wilson's bringing to the table. So I think, the Zach Wilson truther here of the Moose Knuckle Fantasy Football Podcast. So I'll continue rooting for the man.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
All right, guys. Let's get into the Thursday night breakdown. We got the Washington Commanders at the Chicago Bears. The line is Chicago Bears favored by a point with the over-under at a dreaded 37.5. I
We're
thought
favorites.
I
We made
thought
it.
I thought last week's Thursday night football game was bad. Oh man, here we go. The Washington Commanders have a chance to end a 4-game losing streak in prime time at Soldier Field. Uh, the Commanders, boy, those Manders have averaged 9 points in the last 2 games, 25th ranked in scoring. The Bears are 30th ranked in scoring offense. So this probably doesn't turn out to be a high scoring game. No Jahan Dotson for Washington. That's another sad injury on my pathetic fantasy football team. But the story that we all like, Brian Robinson, got himself 9 touches last week. I hope to see that number go up in this one. Tony, give me the Chicago Bears breakdown. What do we have to look forward to?
Yeah, I think we saw Fields take a step forward against a Minnesota team, right? That is actually competing in our division. Certainly now leading the division with after week 5, and he had that really nice run that got called back. Unfortunately, would have had a touchdown, which would have put us ahead, and maybe would have taken the game against Minnesota. So really cool to see how close the Bears are keeping these games through 5 weeks. So, and those were some pretty good teams. I think we can definitely take the Commanders. I definitely give me the 1 point or whatever, you know. I think we get N'Keal Harry back this week. So he'll have another weapon to throw to,
Interesting.
and that helps. And again, we had Monty back last week, and we saw that he got the lion's share of the work there. So all the Herbert owners, sorry that you were hoping on a prayer it might have been a committee. Monty's back, and he is taking that backfield.
Yeah, this is a stinker. The only thing I like about this is a Brian Robinson anytime touchdown. Like, I love that prime time. They're going to be within the 5-yard line at some point this game, and they got to give it to Brian Robinson 3 straight times for him to get in. So I'm not touching this game in terms of betting, but I'll pick the Bears for Tony. I'll pick the Bears. But I'm not throwing any of my money on this turd.
It's a stinker for sure, Chris. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But Tony, we'll ride with you on this one. I'll take the Bears -1, and I will take the under of 37.5.
Love it.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
That is a heavy sigh after covering that game. Whew.
Thanks for the kind words.
But hey, the Sunday night one looks a little bit better. We got the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting line with Philadelphia being favored -6 and the over-under at 42.5. So, guys, I'll start with Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys continue to win even without quarterback Dak Prescott. They just extended their undefeated streak to 4 games with a 22-10 victory against the Los Angeles Rams. That's the Eagles for Week 5. And the last time the Eagles started 5-0 in a season, guys, they won the Super Bowl. So, what do we think is gonna turn out for this one? You see Dallas committing to the running game a little bit more. With Prescott out, that looks like it's a formula that's delivering some success. We're seeing a nice split between Zeke and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's kind of leading the way in terms of fantasy production, but they both combined for 164 rushing yards last week. So, Chris, how do you see this one shaking out?
I love Tony Pollard so much. This has an under game. This has under for me. Dallas is a good defense. Diggs got an interception last week. Micah Parsons is playing like Defensive Player of the Year. For Dallas to have a chance in this game, I think their defense needs to step up and kind of hold them to sub 21 points. And Dak is throwing the ball. I'm not saying he's playing, but if he feels confident and tells McCarthy he wants to give it a go, I think McCarthy will let him give it a go. And if he gives it a go, I can see that line dropping maybe by 3 points. So I do like Dallas in +6 right now.
Nice. Yeah. I Dallas can cover here. I agree with you. I'm tempted to do it as well. All right, what the hell with it. I'll ride with you. So I'll take Dallas at +6. 42 and a half is a great line. That one's tricky for me. Maybe to keep things interesting, you took the under, right? Give me the over,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it shakes out.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, they've kept it close with Philly has this year with the Detroit Lions, so some high flying offense there. Jacksonville Jaguars 29-21, and the Arizona Cardinals. So Dallas is going to keep it close. I agree with you guys. We could see Dallas cover here. I could definitely take that bet. And then Detroit Lions and Philly 38-35 was the score of that game. Jacksonville and they went 29-21. So you're getting close to that 42-5. I think I would take the over here too. Man, it's going to be a great game to watch. Oh, man. I hope they don't put Dak in. Let Cooper Rush just get his potential. And like you said, man, if Cooper Rush wins this game, Dak comes in and does poorly. Whoo! Can't wait to see Twitter light up, man.
Yeah, like I said, if after that Dak comes in, he loses back-to-back weeks, it doesn't matter who the opponents are. There's going to be chatter in Dallas, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I like it. Guys, we got one more game to break down. Let's go through the Monday night game. We got the Denver Broncos. Denver looking for their first AFC West win, taking on the LA Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 5.5 points with the over-under on FanDuel set at 45.5. Guys, we heard about the injury to Mr. Unlimited, and because of that, the Broncos offense has been very limited. So, what do you guys think? Is there anything to be excited about for starting those Denver Broncos offensive playmakers in fantasy? And how much do the Chargers come in and just stomp the shit out of the Denver Broncos team?
Yeah, exactly. They've got 2 wins on the year. One against the Houston Texans, not by a whole lot, and San Francisco by a point, and that's a great team there. So, and I think that was the week that Jimmy G came in. So, just fallacy. So, LA, they're having their injuries. I just saw that Williams was questionable today, but I think he's going to suit up. They're getting the job done without him, though. And Eckler, again, they're heating up. This is my lock of the week. I don't need to say anymore.
Chris, how you seeing it?
I would go alternate line and Chargers give 11.5 because I'm very confident that Chargers are going to blow this out. This has they get up quick. They pound the ball with Eckler and Joshua Jacobs. I'm sorry, Joshua Kelly. Josh Jacobs had a great game. He whooped my ass last week. I hate that guy so much right now. He's on my mind. Josh Kelly. So they're gonna get up big. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Chargers win this easily. So I would go alternate line minus 11.5 on the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to see Nathaniel Hackett put together like a solid offensive game plan, but he hasn't shown that to us quite yet. And maybe he wasn't the offensive guru that he was hired to be and transform that Denver Broncos team. I'm going to take the Chargers minus 5.5. I will probably bet the under at 45.5.
So, guys, one last game I do want to talk about. It's not on the slate, but it's arguably game of the week. We have Bills at Chiefs. Interesting stat. So the Bills on the road are giving 2.5 to the Chiefs at home. This is the first time in Mahomes' career he's been the underdog at home.
Oh.
How does this over under is at 53.5? How does this play out, Dietrich?
Fireworks, I hope. Back to back. I mean, Look at those long touchdown bombs that Josh Allen's throwing to Gabe Davis. I
Yeah.
hope that happens back and forth, that they just go shot for shot, and it just becomes like the old John Elway, Vortex commercials where they're just slinging it like 80, 90, 100 yards. That's how I hope it runs. Tony, how do you see it? Is it just going to be an electric factory? We're just going to see offensive playmakers, more Travis Kelsey points, more Gabe Davis points, Josh Allen being the stallion that he always is.
Oh yeah, he's got stuff to prove this year. I mean, you saw the Bills come out week 1 and that fire in his eyes to just take out the Los Angeles Rams, which now after more time we see the Los Angeles Rams are just definitely not the team that they were last year, right? But he's got some shit to prove this year, and here we are at another week. They're going into the bye week next week, so they're going to lay it out on the table in Kansas City, and I'm going to take the Bills here um, easily.
Guys, I think we should all agree on investing in like a 2 touchdown parlay, the famous 2 touchdown
Oh yeah.
performance that Chris loves to bet. Because you know who actually got a decent amount of looks and looked okay for Kansas City last week was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He seems to be, there seems to be unique plays that are being drawn up for him, running those middle routes, and he's got the speed to actually break away when you hit him in stride. He's got the speed to kill. So I'm not gonna vote on us taking MVS, but I think we should try to find a playmaker in this matchup and bet a little too tutty performance.
I think we sprinkled two tidy performances on the key guys. The Diggs, the Kelseys. Yeah. I mean, I cannot vision this being a low scoring game. The over under is at 53.5. Tony, that seems very low for this matchup, right?
Sure. We thought, what was the 51-5? Was that Kansas City? And man, we almost hit that one. Or we did hit that one, didn't we?
I think
By
it
the end
went
of that
over.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I think this is a shootout. I mean, Buffalo's got a great defense, but that doesn't matter with Patty Mahomes, right? He just torches them. Or
yeah.
does he? I
Remember
don't
the
know, man. He doesn't have Tyreek.
remember the
So,
last time these guys played when all
so
Mahomes
the
only needed like 13 seconds and he got it done.
So the overs had to have hit on the last two matchups. So I was in October last year. Bills won 38-20 in Arrowhead, so 58 points there. And then the AFC Championship game, Bills lost at Arrowhead 24-38. So 62 there. So I think 56.5 is a very realistic. So 3 points over where Vegas has it.
Man,
Is this a noon game?
this is a three
A three
o'clock game.
o'clock.
3 o'clock game?
I think I'm taking the Chiefs. I don't know why. Don't quote me on it, but I'm gonna ride with Patty Mahomes on this one.
So you go money line on it.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, might as well get the extra skin in the game if they're gonna bet against if Vegas is gonna bet against Pat Mahomes. I'll ride with them.
I like it.
Chris, I think the only 2 touchdown you're safe betting on is the man who got 4 last week. But I'll give you a long shot. You're going to get some good odds with wide receiver in Buffalo, Khalil Shakur. Jameson Crowder's out of there. He's kind of filling in that role. I think he got a touchdown last week. You could probably pull in another one this week. So probably get some good odds with Khalil Shakur.
That's a good one. That's a deep cut there, Tony. I like that. What do you think,
Oh.
Chris? Should we put our dough on it?
Let's check the odds on Sunday. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
We
But
got to see James Cook get in the end zone last week too. Maybe Buffalo lines up a couple packages for him too, and all of a sudden he starts getting more play. Everybody's the rookies everywhere are starting to step up. So this is the time when they start to shine. So maybe we can sprinkle a little James Cook action in there. Got to see where he lands for rushing and maybe we bet the over there.
don't hate it.
Trying to look. Do they have the lines? I'm sure you have it up already, Chris.
I do not have it up.
I don't think they have them set yet.
Yeah, it's too early.
All right, guys. How about any other Moose Knuckle matchups you want to cover in Week 6 here that have caught your eye?
I think
Couple
I
of,
mentioned earlier, I'm part of a Sackle Bowl right now, so me and me and Saros, who are scrapping for wins. Uh, I've got 2 and 3. He's 0 and 5, so I definitely do not want to be his one. Right? I don't want to pop his cherry over here.
right, right. Got a couple good 3-2 matchups here with Trevor going against Gavin. I think that's a pretty interesting one. Gavin's team has been absolutely on fire as of late. Um, he's really looking like he's going to solidify himself a playoff spot in the Moose Knuckle League here. And a lot of it that's just due to Jalen Hurts playing out of his mind and getting, what does he have, 12 rushing scores already on the year or something bananas. So, yeah, he's got a really great floor at the quarterback position there. And we've already talked about our love for guys like Michael Pittman, who's on his team getting it done. And Chris, he's got your boy, Travis Etienne, who seems to be getting a little bit more attention in that Jaguars backfield.
Yeah, he's definitely getting the attention there. What scares me is that when I think the stat was when James Robinson rushes the ball less than 17 times, the Jags are 0 and 3. So
Wow.
he's the guy. Like Etienne needs to be that gadget player. He cannot be the focal point. He's still considered a rookie in my eyes. Give it to the guy who's been there. He's the proven vet. He's long tenured Jaguar. He's the guy. He needs to be treated as the guy in that offense to go. But Ryan, I know you're listening, so I'm going to give you three things just looking at your lineup that I like. And, if these three things happen, I think you do have a chance to get your first victory against Tony this week. So, my first thing, just looking at it quickly, Gabriel Davis, monster week last week. He's only projected for 13.14 points in Kansas City. I think he will outscore that projection. I think it's a very low and conservative projection for Davis. So if that's got to happen, number one. Number
That could be
two,
one play. That could be one play
that
for
could be
him.
one play, right? That was one play last week for him. Like, I just, it was the first time clicking on the matchup. I was like, holy shit, like, that seems very low. He should be at like 17, 18. Especially in this high scoring matchup. So very confusing there. Number two, Stevenson. He's projected for 15.59 points. I like that, but he's also one of those guys. He could also get you 6 points. So he needs to hit that 15.59 projection for you to have a chance to beat Tony. And the last one, which I think is going to happen, PJ, the new quarterback for the Panthers, said today that he's got to get the ball to the playmakers. That means McCaffrey. That means DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore in the flex. Only projected for 10.34 points. I think he will outscore that. And if he outscores that, Ramondre gets his, and Gabriel Davis has a Gabriel Davis-like game, I think you have a chance to beat Tony. But if one of those things don't happen, you don't have a chance.
Oh, I think he's got a chance to beat me. I am 1 week away from DeAndre Swift coming back, unfortunately, on the bye week. Supposed to be coming back next week.
Hey,
I think I've been able to.
Rashad White season for you, man.
I am hoping, man. He continues to get more work week over week. He was almost even on receiving work from Fournette last week. So let's just hope he can surpass some of that. You were talking about the flex. They have DJ Moore on Fantasy Pros at wide receiver 37, and I have Rondell Moore in there at wide receiver 38. Big breakout game last week.
Moore versus Moore.
Yeah,
The showdown.
let's go.
Chris, you want to bet which Moore does better?
I'll take DJ.
All right, let's bet lunch, and I'll take Rondale.
Do we have to do lunch together? Or can we just like Uber eat someone lunch?
All right,
We'll come to you, Chris.
Yeah, or
I don't
I'll
wanna
Uber
see
you
it.
a DQ Blizzard.
DQ Blizzard, yeah. DQ Blizzard for next Wednesday.
Done.
All right. Done.
He certainly has the tools to beat me. If Mike Williams goes out, so does my week. So, yeah.
We haven't
I like seeing Herbert in there.
We haven't given a lot of shout outs to DQ Blizzards recently. I'm glad we got that back in the pod. Derek,
Absolutely. And I'll be
sweet.
honest with you, I hope I win because the DQ Blizzard sounds great right now.
Sounds pretty good.
Sounds
Too bad.
sounds really good.
Unfortunately, you will be ordering it. Tone, you got Gerald Everett, who's you guys have actually. I think another interesting matchup is at the tight end position for both your guys' squads. I think Gerald Everett Monday Night Football going against Denver. I think that's a good opportunity for him to hit his projected points and then some. And for the Goatsy, David Njoku. Good old Billy Belichick looks to take away the number one option on the offense whenever he plays. So it's going to be, I think there might be a lot of checkdowns and run and routes for David Njoku. Probably gets a nice floor of points.
Yeah, and Joku consistently getting like 60 to 80 yards, man. I had a down week last week, so hoping Everett bounce back.
Yeah, and another interesting play is Tony. You have Wentz at quarterback going against your beloved Bears. Saros is trusting Chicago's defense, so very interesting play for you emotionally tomorrow, Tony. With hopefully the Bears are letting up points, but your quarterback is scoring the points also on the Bears, but the Bears need to win. Like you're gonna have an evening tomorrow.
Sure, yeah.
You're gonna have an evening tomorrow.
You guys want to get together and just hug it out?
No, that sounds terrible. I don't want to be anywhere near you tomorrow.
Come on over, Tone. There's a cold beer and a shoulder here for you for the Thursday night special.
Oh, guys, I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So, cold beers and hugs.
Cold
And you
beers.
two, try not to take each other's heads off. I don't want to see you guys anywhere near each other this week.
I'll just try to keep up and do the best I can to try to stay afloat here and at least keep things remotely interesting for our matchup, Chris. I think the only one you really got to watch out for is my boy Geno Smith. Look out.
Yeah, disappointing couple weeks for me. Just not starting the right players. So I've had to have been one of the only players in fantasy football last week to start Jefferson, Barkley, and Kelsey, but also lose. So just terrible. So Ken Walker
Yeah.
the third.
Hey, could be. And it'll make me ultra sad that you killed Rashad Penny and then scored a bunch of points on me with Walker. That won't feel right. But I did pick up Alec Pierce on waivers for
I
free.
love that.
And second round
I
pick
cancel.
lining up against on the other side of Michael Pittman Jr. I think there's opportunity there. I think they got him projected for 10.12 points. I think he can hit that. Last couple of games, 6 targets, 9 targets. I think 5 the week prior to that, so the number keeps trending up. I think he's racked up at least 80 yards in consecutive games here. So he's kind of establishing himself as a nice receiver for Matt Ryan. So I think I'm going to have him in the position as my wide receiver too.
Don't hate it. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you need for Pittman to go off. You need him to be doing some pretty good average yards of depth, and he's not doing that. So, I mean, Pierce is where he's basically throwing it and getting the volume. So, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I need to try to find some points any way I can because every week Travis Kelsey can go absolutely hamburger, and then you get in a deep hole. So I'm going to try to keep up with these wild cards like Alec Pierce and AJ Brown's been a little quiet. He's been doing okay. Kind of a steady like 13, 14 points, but last week only 3 catches. That one stung a little bit. Only had like 6.5 points. So hoping that he gets a little bit more attention in this Sunday night football matchup.
If Fryermuth does not give it a go, I like your backup tight end in Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is another one of those guys who could catch 2 touchdowns for the Bills. He hasn't really had his coming out game this season, but he's very talented to do so. And I think he has caught multiple touchdowns against the Chiefs last season.
I mean, that was just kind of the strategy is like if my tight end is not able to go, grab a guy that's playing in a matchup that's got a really high over under. That there's points to be had, and hopefully he falls in the end zone with a couple of them.
Hey, if you don't like your tight end, I might have a tight end for you for maybe a handcuff for my running back, who you will not be using this week.
Might be able to
So,
chat.
so rough numbers for Dawson Knox in 2 matchups last season: 9 catches, like 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns, like combined. So, like, he's a great play for you. So
you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you, I like your tight end slot, and if I can't figure out who to play in the flex, I may throw Kelsey in the flex and throw Big Bob Tanyan in the tight end slot because.
You're talking a big game about your boy Skoranek. Throw him out there, lace him up in the flex. See what happens.
Which we talked about it. Allen Robinson is on the waiver wire in a 14-team league. Very disappointing on the season. But he's going to be picked up by Saturday. I know someone is going to put a waiver claim north of $15. D, I'll bet you on that as well. I'll even supersize your blizzard on that. If someone is going to pick up Allen Robinson for more than $15, and if it's me, I do not count to win the bet. Someone's going to pick him up.
It'll probably happen, but there'll be a lot of shame and regret afterwards.
I don't know. I think I'm still holding out for the better days of Allen Robinson. And who dumped him?
Was it Team Skeet? Might have been a Skeet. But
Skeet.
you know what's going to happen is the irrelevance of Robinson will continue, but Van Jefferson's going to come back in a couple weeks off the IR, and I feel like he's going to get plugged into that offense and end up getting a nice floor of points. So if I was going to bet on a Rams playmaker, I'm going to bet on the return of Van Jefferson.
Team Skeet dropped him for DJ Dallas, the guy who could be taking over some Kenneth Walker over there, Chris.
I would much rather have DJ Dallas on my team than Allen Robinson.
I'm gonna pick Allen Robinson up, and he's gonna be a league winner for me.
Oh gosh, bold words. That is the spiciest take you've had all year.
If I get him on my team, I'm not gonna say how much I'm gonna put on him, but if I get him on my team, I will end up starting him probably the next week. That's how desperate I am.
Who would you rather have, Tone? DJ Dallas or Allen Robinson? I don't even think it's that hard.
On the high-flying Seattle offense? DJ Dallas, probably. Yeah.
They're a great story. I think they are. Seattle, they were left for dead. Nobody thought there'd be any kind of production on that team at all. Every offensive playmaker just completely fell in our draft. 14-team league, and nobody was grabbing guys. I guess maybe Drew Lock put the stink on it, and people just didn't have any confidence. But Geno Smith is playing out of his mind. He's a great quarterback.
Top QBR in the league this year. It's amazing. I can say on the contrary, they are going into maybe not right now, but they will end the season on a harder schedule. So something to be aware of.
Just more points for Geno Smith to kind of keep in that game. Guys, I don't have a lot to root for in my fantasy team here. Geno Smith is a bright spot on the team right now.
Man, I love it. I continually don't pick people up in exchange for Carson Wentz. Did start the year as Matt Ryan, so I think it's still an upgrade. But I'm debating on picking up Justin Fields, though, and seeing if he has a good game this week and kind of rides this game last week as a bench stash. But
hey, well, I got a quarterback that is on the bench that actually has a pretty decent matchup this week, and I also got a certain handcuff running back that could also benefit your team. Maybe you throw a little something my way, and we can get a little negotiation started here. Jimmy Garoppolo going against Atlanta is a tempting start, really. I think he's going to put up some pretty decent points there.
I like it. I'd be willing to give up Conklin for Williams, but I'm going to keep Everett. I need all the
Conk.
points I get. Yeah.
All right, Chris. Any other parting words from you before we exit this week's show?
Best of luck to you. You need it more than I do, but we both need it. So, root for a tie.
Hey, go Ties!
Go Ties! So that's all I got.
All right, we'll see how much I can keep up with the cranberry cheddar sausages of the world. But thank you all for tuning in to the Moose Knuckle Fantasy Football Podcast. Chris is an idiot. I hope let us know how we're doing. Give us a thumbs up on all podcast platforms that you're listening or tuning into. We appreciate you. And until next time, good luck on your matchups. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.